Hello, how are you? This is Lerone Kuntz. I'm in my basement today, and I'm here to give you an update on what's going on with Nathan Wade. Now, Nathan Wade is going through a divorce with his wife, Joycelyn, and his wife wants him held in contempt of court, and she wants him incarcerated until he pays her medical bills. All right. Now, in January of 2024, this year, he entered into a temporary agreement with his wife. And in that agreement, he agreed to pay her medical bills. And I have her application for citation of contempt right here. She filed it. She wants him held in contempt. And in this application, it says, I have my computer here. It says the temporary agreement states as follows regarding defendant's healthcare expenses. Plaintiff will pay all uncovered medical expenses for defendant apart from any elective cosmetic procedures until further order of the court. Okay. And then it goes on to explain what's going on with her medical condition and why she needs to have medical treatment. It says defendant urgently requires medical procedures, namely an endoscopy, colonoscopy, and ultrasound due to severe physical symptoms she has been enduring. These symptoms have significantly impacted her ability to consume most foods, leading to a substantial weight loss, notwithstanding her already slender stature when in better health. Upon information and belief, her condition is worsening, and delaying these diagnostic procedures may necessitate emergency intervention unnecessarily. Defendant has duly notified plaintiff of the urgent necessity for these medical procedures and the need for prepayment in the amount of $4,400. Specifically, she has communicated that the medical facility will not even schedule these tests until plaintiff prepays the associated co-payments directly to the healthcare provider. Okay, so she needs $4,400 because she needs to get these tests done. Now, in this temporary agreement that they agreed to in January, he also agreed to give her spousal payments or alimony, and he has been doing that. But the reason why she can't use that money to pay for her medical expenses is because that money has to be used on their children, because after he agreed to pay his wife spousal support, he pretty much cut his kids off. He has a daughter that's in college studying to be a doctor. He had been paying her rent. He called her and told her, I'm no longer paying your rent. Get it from your mother. She also has to study for tests to get into medical school. And he called her and told her, I'm not paying for that either. Get that from your mom. He also called their son, who was in Europe, in Spain, trying to, pursue a career as a professional soccer player. He called him and told him, I'm not going to pay your expenses either. Get it from your mother. So she's been using her money to take care of her kids, and as a result, she's not able to pay her medical bills. Now, let's read what actually the document says about the kids. It says, ironically, the defendant finds herself unable to fulfill the prepayment obligations to the healthcare provider despite not being legally obligated to do so due to the actions of the plaintiff. On the day immediately following the entry, of the order on January 30th, 2024, plaintiff informed the party's daughter, an upperclassman in college with hopes of entering medical school in the near future, that he would discontinue payment of her rent and living expenses, instructing her to, quote, get the money from your mother, unquote. It is noteworthy that the daughter's rent was due that very day, demonstrating defendant's unwavering commitment to her children and future, and their education and future. She promptly covered her daughter's rent payment and has continued to do so every month thereafter with the money she receives in spousal support awarded under the temporary order and agreement. As an additional note, plaintiff has punitively reneged on his commitment to cover their daughter's MCAT expenses as well. MCAT is the test that you need to take to get into medical school, and he says he's not paying for that either. So the mother has to pay. Now let's go into what the deal is with the son. The party's son is currently in Europe pursuing a career as a professional soccer player. Despite plaintiff executing a verified affidavit to the country of Spain, affirming financial responsibility for his son's expenses for visa purposes, he subsequently informed his son shortly after the temporary order was entered that he would no longer be providing support for him either, directing the son to, quote, get the money from your mother, unquote. In response, the defendant, unwilling to leave their son in a foreign country without support, has been covering all his expenses and associated costs for the visa application process with the money she's receiving in spousal support. Okay, so the mother has to cover the expenses for the kids because he has decided he's not going to pay anymore. And I think this is a way of him getting back at his wife I don't understand. I don't understand why he's not doing this. Doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, there's really no reason for this. If he entered into the agreement to pay her bills, then pay the bills. And he started doing this January 30th. This is before he was eliminated or disqualified from the Fanny Willis Donald Trump case. This is before that. This is when he was still on the payroll. He was still making a lot of money doing this case, and he decided that he wasn't going to pay anymore. And so she's in a situation where she doesn't have the money to pay for her medical bills. And let's see what she asks the court to do. She says that she wants the court to issue a citation of contempt against the plaintiff, Nathan Wade, and find his conduct to be in willful violation of the consent temporary order dated January 30th, 2024. And she says punish plaintiff with incarceration, ordering a purge in the amount sufficient for defendant to schedule her medical procedures, to wit, $4,400. So she wants him held in contempt of court, and she wants him incarcerated until he pays her the $4,400. And I don't understand why someone would do this. I don't understand any of Nathan Wade's and Fanny Willis's moves. I don't understand why they are doing the things that they are doing or have done the things that they've done. Nathan Wade filed for divorce in November of 2021. Okay, November 2nd of 2021, the day after he signed the contract with Fulton County, he filed for divorce from his wife. Okay, he filed for divorce. But he did not produce any documents or the documents that they needed in order to proceed with the divorce. He wouldn't produce the documents related to his expenses, his assets, and things like that, which you need when you go through the divorce procedure. His wife was a stay-at-home mother, so she's entitled to alimony. Okay, and the documents also say that she worked while he went to law school. And they've been married for over 25 years. She is entitled to alimony, okay, at the very least. But yet he did not produce the documents necessary for the divorce to go forward. So that's why now here we are in 2024. This thing is still not completed yet. And it doesn't make any sense because he's the one that filed. Now, in August of 2023, after her lawyers were requesting and submitting requests to Nathan Wade and to the court to have him produce these documents, He finally is held in contempt of court in August of 2023, right? August 17th of 2023, the divorce court judge entered a contempt order against Nathan Wade, compelling him to produce these documents, right? And you would think that right away he would do it, but he didn't. He waited until December 22nd of 2023 to produce some of the documents, a portion of the documents. But in those documents that he did produce were credit card statements. And in those credit card statements were the tickets for the trips that he took with Fanny Willis. That's how we found out about it. He submitted documentation. Check the date, December 22nd of 2023. Now, once he produced those documents, that's when the attorneys from the RICO case became aware of the fact that he was dating and traveling and had a relationship with Fanny Willis. Had not he submitted those documents, they would have not known that. Had Nathan Wade gone through with the divorce in 2021 when he filed for divorce, no one would have never ever known that he and Fanny Willis had a relationship together. Okay, they wouldn't be able to prove anything. They would have had no documents at all. And this is so significant because, like I said, the date, December 22nd, 2023. Okay, now, during the RICO case, the judge, McAfee, had a deadline for submitting motions. That deadline was January 8th. Okay, January 8th of 2024 was the deadline to submit motions in the Trump RICO case. Okay, had he waited before he submitted those documents on December 22nd, if he would have waited until January 9th, it wouldn't even have really mattered that her name, Fanny Willis's name, were on these plane tickets and boat tickets and things like that. It would have not even had mattered because the deadline would have been come and gone and the motion would not have been filed. So what I'm saying is that what he did was, it defies logic. Why submit divorce papers against your wife in 2021, November 2nd of 2021, and not produce the documents until December 22nd, 2023? Several days before, probably like about 2 weeks before the deadline was to submit motions in the RICO case. Doesn't make sense at all. Also, the other thing that doesn't make sense. Now, he's the breadwinner of the family. His wife is a stay-at-home mother, right? So eventually, when they actually do settle this divorce, there's going to be a whole lot of legal fees that are associated with this. Maybe not on his side because he's an attorney, but on her side because she had to hire an attorney because he filed the divorce, right? He's probably going to be the one that has to pay the legal bills for her because he is the breadwinner of the family. Why drag this thing out for 2.5 years? These lawyers are constantly going to court, requesting these documents, requesting information, asking the judge to hold you in contempt. They're filing motions. Every time the lawyers file a complaint or a motion or a request, they are charging. They charge by the hour. Who's going to pay for that? Wade. So why not just get this thing over with? Had you done that, Wade, had you done that, you would still be on the case right now. The trial would be probably going on right now, and you would still be getting paid For better or worse, you still be getting paid. Had you filed for the divorce in November of 2021 and took a month or 6 months to finalize it, this would not be an issue. This is the type of people, these are the type of people that we're dealing with right now. You know, people who I don't understand. I don't know what type of people these are. Why would you cut your children off because your wife requested and got an agreement that you agreed to pay her what she is due? You cut your kids off. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. You have a daughter that wants to go to medical school and you refuse to pay for the prep for her tests. You refuse to pay her rent while she's in college. That doesn't make sense, right? So there's a lot of things that are going on with Wade and Willis that don't make sense to me. Now, when okay, let me just back up a little bit. As this divorce case has been proceeding, as I said, the date, December 22nd. On December 22nd, they get the information about the relationship between Willis and Wade. Okay, let me just get to that a little bit. Okay, it says now in one of the motions that the divorce lawyer filed, it says on December 22nd, 2023, the plaintiff only produced a portion of his outstanding required discovery responses. In these responses were credit card statements which demonstrated that plaintiff had paid and taken trips unrelated to his work with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Since the plaintiff filed for divorce, he has taken trips to San Francisco and Napa Valley, to Florida, and even gone to Caribbean cruises, enjoyed a trip to Belize, another to the country of Panama, and even just last month took a trip to Australia. The evidence is clear that Miss Willis was an intended travel partner for at least some of these trips, as indicated by flights he purchased for her to accompany him. Okay, so this is in her motion. She's saying that he produced these documents on December 22nd. Now remember this. Okay, after she got these documents, she saw that Fanny Willis was involved with Wade. Okay, they're going on cruises, they're going on plane rides, they're going to San Francisco. So as a result of that, she subpoenaed Fanny Willis, okay? Because in Georgia, adultery is considered sort of like a mitigating factor when a divorce proceeding goes on. It has an impact on what happens in the divorce, the amount of money that is being paid out and things like that. So when a lawyer sees that, you know, the spouse is in a relationship, then they want to know more about that. The court, you know, they want to bring that person into court. They wanted Wade, they subpoenaed Wade to come to court and Fanny Willis to come to court, which makes perfect sense if you're Wade's wife. Have them both come in and have them explain their relationship, have them explain the contracts that he has gotten from Fulton County and how much money he's making, as well as, how much money he spent, on Fanny Willis. This is a very reasonable subpoena, okay? But as a result of her filing the subpoena, Fanny Willis, she responds to the subpoena, and she says in her response, District Attorney Willis, okay, she says, defendant Joycelyn Wade is using the legal process to harass and embarrass District Attorney Willis, and in doing so is obstructing and interfering with an ongoing criminal prosecution. So what Fanny Willis is saying is that because this woman who was married to Wade for 25 years is seeking information about his finances and their relationship, that she is interfering and obstructing an ongoing criminal investigation. Okay, she is claiming that she is obstructing justice and interfering in the case because she has the nerve, the gall to ask her to explain what's happening with Wade and her, right? You would think that the district attorney who has information would want to come to court and explain, okay? As the district attorney, to say, okay, I know what the court is requiring. Let me just go down there, or let me just submit the information as to what is happening with his contracts and his relationship with her to the court so they can settle this thing. She doesn't do that. Now, as the district attorney, I would think that she should do that. As a woman that is the mistress and is dating the husband, she may not want to do that. She may not want to come to court and be in the middle of their divorce and things like that. I get that. So she should just say, I don't want to come down here. But she didn't. She is accusing this lady of committing a crime by having the nerve to request that she comes down. And she goes even further than that. She says, she's asking the court, she says, this court grant a protective order quashing the attached subpoena for disposition. So she's saying, she's asking the court to quash the subpoena. She doesn't want to come. Gotcha. Then she says, non-party deponent, which is her, be awarded attorney's fees and expenses incurred in preparing, filing, and litigating this response. So she wants Wade's wife to pay her expenses because she had to respond to the subpoena. She wants to be paid her legal expenses because she had to take the time to write her response to the court as to why she doesn't want to come to the subpoena. Okay, that's rich right there. That's serious. That's arrogant. Okay, that's not all. It says also, in the alternative, that non-party deponent be given 180 days to complete a review of the filings in the incident case, investigate and depose relevant witnesses with regard to the interference and obstruction this motion contends. So what she's saying there is that she wants 6 months to investigate Wade's wife and her attorney and whoever else is involved in asking her to come down. And she wants to prosecute them for obstructing ongoing case that she's on, which is the RICO case. She wants to file charges against them. She wants 6 months to investigate them and charge them with interference and obstruction because they have the gall to ask her, who is his boss, who is paying her, to ask her about the contracts and their relationship. This is crazy. And see, this is crazy on so many different levels. It's crazy that this wouldn't even be an issue had he gone through with the divorce like a normal person. This is crazy because he's drawing this out and he'll probably have to pay all these legal bills at the end of the day. This is crazy that he submitted the documentation on December 22nd, like 2 weeks before the deadline for filing motions in the RICO case, the only case that he's on, that he's getting paid $725,000 for. This is his only case he's working on. And he should know that January 8th is the deadline. If you held out since November 2nd of 2021 to December 22nd, what is another 2 weeks of 2023? What's another 2 weeks? You could have waited 2 weeks and not had to deal with this at all. It wouldn't have been an issue. You would have still had your job most likely. And no one probably would have even, well, they couldn't have brought a motion. So the world wouldn't even know about you really until the case started. You probably would have already been doing the case. The case would have probably been already in motion right now had he not filed those documents on the 22nd, right? The other thing is crazy is that because he filed these documents, of course, the divorce attorney, if it's a good attorney, they're going to want to come. They want to hear what type of contracts he's got, what type of money he's making, and the relationship between him and his mistress, of course, she knows that. I mean, if you're an attorney, you know this is what you were supposed to do. If Fanny Willis was Wade's wife's attorney, she would request the same thing. But Fanny Willis, which is crazy, she says, no, you got to pay me now because I had to respond to this subpoena and I'm investigating you. And I'm going to lock you up for just having the nerve to even ask me to come down. This is all crazy. And the last reason why this is crazy is because Fanny Willis purports herself as some sort of advocate for black people, for black women, right? She's a black woman and she's always letting people know that she's a black woman and how hard it is for black people and how hard it is for black women. Here you have a black woman who is trying to get a divorce, or who her husband says that he wants to divorce her. She is not being given a divorce, and she has not just recently started to get alimony from him. From what I've been able to gather, prior to this temporary order or agreement that they entered into on January 30th of 2024, he had been giving his wife $700 every 2 weeks. And he was drawing from the account that he was giving her the $700 every 2 weeks. So while he's flying around the world with Fanny Willis, going on cruises with her, his wife is getting $1,400 a month, which he is using part of that money to do his own thing. So if she's an advocate for black women, as she carries herself as, or she claims to be, why is she not advocating for this black woman? Even if she's the mistress, I mean, what's right is right. If this lady was the stay-at-home mother, and if this lady was the person that was working while he was going through medical school, she is entitled to alimony. She's entitled to a timely divorce. Why should she be strung out for 2.5 years trying to get a divorce from a guy who is the one who filed for the divorce? Why doesn't she say to him, listen, take care of your wife, man. You know, wrap that up. You have the money. I'm paying you the money. I see the type of money you're making. I'm signing off on your checks. Take care of that lady and let's move on with our relationship. No. These are the type of people that are here in Fulton County in these high positions. I don't understand what type of people these are. And I'm glad that all this was exposed so we can get a glimpse of how they think and how they handle their business. This is not cool. I'm telling you, this is bad. This woman is having medical issues and Wade is not fulfilling his obligations. You know, now I'm sure he's going through a deficit in terms of finances because he's no longer working for Fulton County. He's no longer on this big RICO case. So I don't know what his financial situation is now, but he did this while he was still on the case. He did this the day after he signed this agreement on January 30th of 2024. He cut his kids off and, you know, stopped paying the wife's medical bills right off the top. So I don't know what's going to happen, you know, going forward. But if I hear anything about him getting locked up or whatever the judge decides to do in this case, I'm going to let you know. So thanks for coming in, checking me out. And until next time, as always, peace and stay safe.